All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday or Friday. Crap. So used to being on Wednesday. It is time for Nobody Asked for This. Today's going to be fun, y'all. We got Myra, and she's here, and I'm going to pull her up right now. Here we go. We going to get this started. Make sure my connection's good. There she is. Hi.
What up?
And if you had any idea how many people have been lit up about us just talking like we normally do today, it's like, oh wait, what? And great. You might be one of the most anticipated. Nobody asked for this guests that we've had.
Yeah, I know. I be silent, man. I be on the low. I
Yeah.
like to move very quietly.
Oh,
So.
I know. Well, for those that are tuning in that for whatever interesting reason aren't familiar with who I am, my name is Jason E.C.Wright. I am founder of Burnt Sienna Research Society. We're an institute of design research and critical thought. And this is our talk series called Nobody Asked for This, where we just have conversations with creatives about the intersection of kind of like culture, process, and like the approaches to how you move through life. And today we are here with the awesome and fantastic and one of my favorite people, Myra Hasson. And yeah, we're gonna talk about some cool stuff here. But yeah, would you like to say anything to the people on my side about who you are and tell people like where you grew up?
Well, my name is Myra Annette Hasson. I'm named after my grandmother. She's from the South. She's from Mississippi. So my Southern
Mm.
comes out sometimes. Um, Born and raised in Inglewood, South Central LA. Born and raised in LA, so I went to college out here at USC as well. Was an athlete primarily most of my life. Got a
Mm.
full scholarship to USC on a track and field scholarship. So my long legs got me a free ride. My long legs and big feet got me a free ride to college.
That's interesting because I think depending on when they met you, some people know you as, from DJing. Some people know you from, different jobs you've had, whether it's, design or an F&B or, in like community and stuff like that. But yeah, you started as a career athlete. Like
Yeah,
you were
no one knows.
good.
No, well, hardly anybody really knows about my athletic background. I've had a few lives in my 20s, as you know. But yeah, like when I was little, we're in the we're in the hood, so African American communities, in order to get out and have a better life, is through athletics. And so my
Yeah.
dad put me in a multitude of different sports, and so I know how to golf, I know how to play tennis, I played volleyball, suck at basketball, but running was my actual thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I ended up running track throughout middle school and high school. Got offered a full scholarship my ninth grade year.
Oh, wait,
And
so you started in middle school.
you breaking up. Wait, what'd you say?
You started in middle school.
Yes, I'm not one of those like kids that start. Jason, you keep breaking up.
Got it. Oh, there we go. We back? There we go. Trying to get the signal right. This internet is wonky. Um, and so ran through high school, got the scholarship, ran at USC, and then didn't you train for the Olympics?
Yes, I did. I actually took a year off after I graduated college, and I decided to give it a go in 2012 and decided to train for the 400 hurdles.
Mm.
Shout out to my coach. Um, I ended up quitting right before I was going to go over to Europe because I was fucking tired of running in circles every day. You know, that's literally what we're doing as an athlete. You're literally running in circles every day, practice
Yeah.
sometimes twice a day, vitamin supplements, weight training. You can't drink, be on your feet too much. You have to eat a certain way. I see Crystal saying hurdles. Hurdles. Yes, Crystal, I was training in the hurdles. Yeah.
And that's got to be a crazy feeling because like you're what most people would consider like the pinnacle or the top of like what you strive for in athleticism, right? Like especially in track where it's not like a team sport where you like go into a league or something like that. Like the Olympics is the thing, and you were like, nah, that takes a different type of courage and sense of self. What do you remember about like kind of coming down from that, being like, okay, well, that's not the thing. I have my whole life ahead of me. I have no idea what I like to do.
Yeah, I had little sparks of moments actually in college because I feel like a lot of people think that being a student athlete is this like glamorous life. On the outside, it looks glamorous, but it's a lot of fucking work on the back end. And I mean, you're a full time student, you're a full time athlete. I practiced 6 days a week, 3 to 4 hours a day, and I had class. Like I had a regular schedule, just like a regular student, and I had to make sure I kept my grades up. But
Yeah.
I remember this moment I was on my way to practice, and I saw this dude with a guitar laying in the grass under a tree on a sunny day, and he was sleeping. And I'm on my way to practice, and I was pissed. I was so pissed when I saw him napping in the grass under a tree with his guitar. And I was like, fuck, that's life right there. He's really living the life. He's just in the moment, resting, has his guitar, being creative. And I was on my way to practice, 2:30. And I was so upset because I wanted a life of just like being able to have that type of leisure and creativity and fun. And so when I was training, I was just like, life is so much more than this. I mean, it just wasn't my thing. And everybody has, you know, their lane of what they want to do with their life. And my lane was a lot more explorative as opposed to just being an athlete. Because an athlete, your life is very like this. But
Yeah,
I wanted a lot of this. I wanted it everywhere. I wanted it messy. I wanted it colorful. I wanted to feel a lot of different things. And as an athlete, you don't really get to, at least for me, I wasn't able to really feel that much.
yeah,
And I wanted to explore and see what the world felt like throughout, without an athletic lens. And
yeah.
so I left. I wanted more.
And there's been so many conversations around that, especially this year, like with the Olympics, with Simone Biles choosing not to continue to compete and overtax herself, or Naomi Osaka, choosing not to do the press or any of those things. Like people forget that, like, yeah, you're still a person, and you're more than just the event that they're tuned in to watch, or that they're telling their kids to watch to like be inspired or justify all the money they put into this thing. And that's the story I hear about a lot of athletes, whether they were training for the Olympics, whether they were, in the league, whether it's NFL, NBA, whatever. It's like, what do you do after sports? Like, what else is there to life? And so you've had a few different jobs and career things where you've explored different things. And I want to kind of talk about that on how you get to the Myra that exists right now. You taught for a little bit, didn't you? You went into like teaching for a second, right?
Yeah, I taught at an elementary school for 6 years
Mm,
called Juanita Tate Academy. And it's also in South Central LA. It's in like a low income, low parent involvement neighborhood, which was like where I grew up. So I feel like I got to be around my friends all over again, and
yeah.
also tap into like my little child all over again. I was there for 6 years. And during that time, I enrolled in DJing school.
And
Uh,
didn't tell anyone. Nobody knew.
yeah, or maybe like a handful of people enrolled in DJ school. Shout out to the Scratch Academy.
Just one time for
Uh,
scratch.
yeah, and Hoppa is a real one. Hoppa, well, yeah, one of my professors.
Yeah.
And then enrolled in graphic design school at Otis. And during that time, just teacher during the day, DJ by night, and sprinkle a graphic design in there subtly here and there on the low. So, you know, dabbling into 3 different things at once. Not too many people knew about that either. But it was
Right.
just something I wanted to explore and play. And although I was tired of shit, I still felt fulfilled spiritually.
Yeah.
Like it was something that I wanted to explore, and it was something that was feeding a part of my soul that I didn't really get to tap into before. So yeah, I was tired doing this day job, but also I was fulfilled in other areas. So
Yeah. And it's interesting how the DJ side of things, the way you would approach like mixing a song or creating a playlist or like reading the room, you kind of apply that to your graphic practice, right? Like when you were learning about design and colors, and like we'd go and, you know, visit different retail stores, and you'd like just see all of these stories with stuff. What else did you do after Otis? You took a job doing something in like fashion or design, right?
yeah, so I ended up quitting the elementary school to go into graphic design more. And then I wasn't really sure, like when I quit, I didn't have a job waiting for me. I was just like, I just need to dive into what I want to do right now, which is graphic design. And then I ended up being a junior graphic designer at Tamara Mellon.
Mm,
So Tamara Mellon is the co-founder, Jimmy Choo. So I got to be in a room with some legends that had amazing, impeccable taste, that I'm really grateful for, because I got really inspired to be around these Parisian women, these like just women from different parts of the world that had a level of taste that I've never been around.
yeah,
And they carried their life with so much integrity and taste and standard that it made me really want to carry that with me. Although I didn't really want to be a graphic designer after about a year with them, because I don't
yeah,
want to sit on my ass. Like I was tired of running in circles, and then I was tired of sitting on my ass. And in graphic design, you're literally sitting on your ass all day in front of a screen. And so, yeah, I didn't really want to do that either. But it was a really cool opportunity to explore.
yeah. I remember that became a time when you were exploring more of like your own personal style, right? Like looking at expressing yourself more through the things that you wore, even down to like finding things that meant something to you, like your red lipstick and how that was an homage to your mother and things of that nature. Like, and you know, pulling these vintage finds and mixing and matching stuff. Like, you've always had this really warm spirit, but your personal style just kind of like became this wonderful like plate to serve it all up on. Um,
Yeah, I feel like my spirit after wanting to leave track is I just wanted to play.
yeah,
I just wanted to play. I just wanted to explore. I wanted to ride on my shoes. I wanted to put pieces together that didn't make that much sense in a, you know, fashion sense. But I just wanted to explore and put things together in my life that I felt was aligned with me at the time. And I don't know if it made sense. I don't know if it should make sense. I don't know. Fuck it. Let's just see what happens. And if it feels
right,
good, I'm going to keep it going. If it doesn't, fuck it. I'm going to leave it behind. And
yeah,
I think at the end of the day, that's, for me, that's all I really want to do is just play. And I feel like my fashion and what I choose to do with my time and my energy and my creativity is really me. I mean, I feel like we all have a responsibility to interpret this world through our own lens. And for me, my lens is through the senses and play. Like, I love food, I love music, I love design, I like art, I like fashion, I love all the things that makes my body feel alive.
yeah.
I get to play. So
I want to talk about the play part of that. There was something you said to me once, which was you didn't feel like people took play serious enough, and you wanted to take it very seriously, like to the point of, as we kind of coined it for this, like being a play scientist, like really taking a scientific approach of like, how many senses do you use when you're actually in a state of play, which opens you up to new opportunities. And you built this kind of event around that, called Set the Tone. And you had like musical instruments and DJs and food and stuff like that. The first one was at Hotel Figueroa downtown, right? That was the first one?
Oh wait, you breaking up again?
Uh-oh. Let's try this again. Let's see. Are we here? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So you did this event, and it was called Set the Tone. The first one was downtown, right? At Hotel Fig.
Yeah, Hotel Fig.
I want to talk about that because your approach to how you basically built out this entire world where like people are playing with African instruments while the DJ is playing Little John records and they're doing it in time. And everyone like there was so much amazing stuff going on, but like taking play seriously to the standpoint of like how many senses can you engage with, bringing the community together, which kind of echoes back to what you were doing at the school. But like, I want to talk a little bit about your process for putting that event together and why creating a space for playing was so important for you.
That event was birthed from the death of my mom.
Mm.
A lot of people don't know this, but during my time when I was DJing, when I was graphic designing, when I was teaching, when I was throwing events, my mom was dying. Like, she had a rare form of dementia, and over that time, she stopped playing. She couldn't, taste things the same. She couldn't. Her vision was going. She couldn't see the world like she used to. She couldn't feel things. She couldn't wear things the same. She couldn't walk. She couldn't be alive in the world anymore. And it really made me appreciate uh, life a lot more. Fuck, I'm about to cry, man. I don't want to cry right now.
I said I would try. I said I would
Oh,
try.
God damn it. Oh, fuck.
I don't think that a lot of people knew that though.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you gotta fucking see a mom not be able to live, or even a loved one live, it makes you want to live,
Yeah.
And when she passed, I just told myself I was gonna like live my life in the way that she couldn't, And so I felt like I always had like a special connection to my senses anyway, like how I viewed the world and how I interpreted it. And so I don't know, like a part of my exploration, I just was driving around in Inglewood and I happened to stumble upon this old white man with this warehouse in the middle of Inglewood with all these instruments from Africa, South America, and Indonesia. And he would have drum circles, and I would go there sometimes. And he just had all this weird shit, and I like weird shit. So I, when I would go there, it would just light me up.
Yeah.
And my background in psychology, I really love the human brain and how we like just move and understand the world and how we interpret things. And when you learn something new, your brain is never the same.
Mm-hmm.
How you move through life is never the same because you're exposed to something new. And I feel like I love that feeling when I learn something new. And when I'm around these instruments, I feel like I'm learning something new all the time, and I wanted people to feel what I feel. And I really didn't know what it would look like at first, but I knew I just wanted to bring something different. I didn't want to just have a turn up party. I wanted something that
Yeah.
people can touch, that people can understand why it's cool or understand where it's from, what is the name of it. And so had some interesting connections to Hotel Figueroa. Shout out to you and Susie.
One time for Susie. Susie made a lot of that shit happen. Let's keep it 100%. Susie made a lot of that shit happen for sure.
Yeah, and shit, all I needed was a space. Give me a space and I'll turn that shit out.
Facts.
And just give me a space and I'll take care of the rest.
Yeah.
And
That
then,
that space was amazing though. It was
yeah,
incredible.
yeah, and the timing was really beautiful too because they revamped the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was the summertime at the pool in the back, outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just perfect. And I co-hosted it with BB at the time. I'm not sure if you know Bianca.
Yeah.
Um, and so I don't know, it was just fucking around. Let's put a playground upstairs and put a DJ at the bottom, and let's see what people do. How will they receive it? Will they play it? Will they, you know, play with each other? Will they? I don't know. Just putting elements in the room and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I
it
had
happened
no
too.
expectations. I just wanted to see what happened, see what the fuck happened, because
Mm-hmm.
you
And
know,
what happened was
playing
everybody
don't
was
know.
like, "This is amazing." And when are you doing the next one?
Oh yeah.
But I think the thing about that event that was so mind blowing to me was there was still an educational aspect to it. Like you still labeled the instruments so that people could explore it on their own. They got a chance to see what it was. There were people around that could kind of explain it, but like seeing somebody play with like, an historical African instrument in time to, the DJ playing like a modern record, like was literally not only bridging like time periods and cultural things, but also like giving people a chance to inhabit and have a communication like with the ancestors and with the community and with themselves. And the waves of that initial one are still hitting. Like I got reconnected with some people I hadn't seen in a while from that, reconnected with Adam, and then we just, did all the things with that. So it's like there's so many things that happen just by you creating that space. And so I thank you for doing it. I think somebody said in here, I think it was Cynthia was saying that the way that you're moving through things are honoring your mother's memory in such a beautiful way by just living, right? Like being all of those things that you said. The interesting thing is you did do another one and you took over an entire building to the point they were like, we need to hire you. But that one was different and it felt different because you had more space, right? But it was a space that was supposed to be designed for community interaction and things of that nature. Um, Coming out of doing that event, doing those two events, and then transitioning on the other side of working within like kind of a startup slash corporate thing, and then cycling through that and getting to where you are now. What lessons do you think that you learned about yourself and your own process and approach, like the things that you need to be supported, to be informed, and to move forward on your ideas?
That was a bunch of questions in one
I
sentence.
know. Take your time.
Shit, where do I fucking start? Well, I think the biggest thing that I learned about myself, and at least I'll start in my creative process. I really like to merge history and modern, and I like to educate people on why something is important,
Mm.
but not necessarily sitting somebody down and talking to them. It's actually like, oh, you're actually going to use your body to learn this forever.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I You
Mm.
know, our brains don't really remember. Well, not gonna say our brains don't, but our best way of memory is by doing.
Mm.
And I just want people to do and be inspired by what they do and why they do it. Because I mean, that's how I like to move.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, shit, with my athletic background, I learned that I don't have a lot of corporate experience. I learned uh, that it's okay to take time to slow down to learn certain skills that'll help progress me. And, you know, you don't have to fucking show everything you're doing in the world. Uh, I don't know. What else did you ask?
Well, that's something else, but you just said something that kind of has taken me a different direction, which feels just much more natural to this conversation, which is the importance of doing and not feeling that you have to show every step, right? Like the importance of feeling confident that what you're doing and the time that you're on is the time that is meant to, and giving time to things. Like it's something I actually learned from you and Kai, low key, about like from a gardening standpoint, from cooking, right? Like experimentation and time and letting things take the time that it takes. When you're applying the lessons that you've learned, are you ever surprised at how well you've learned something?
Hell yeah. I mean, also from my athletic background, I'm so hard on myself and I want everything to be right. And,
Mm,
you know, because if you don't have shit right, it's going to show. You know what I mean? So I I like to have my shit together. I like to approach my professional and personal life like I have my shit together. And
yeah,
I'm realizing that sometimes, or most of the time, you don't. And that's okay. And, you know, we're going to fuck up, we're going to excel. And I'm just taking the lessons along the way. I'm not going to take it personally. I'm not going to beat myself up about it, although I have sometimes. But, you know, I'm just trying to take it as a lesson learned and try to slow down and be my best friend and say it's okay. Like, where's the fire? Where's the rush? Where am I getting this pressure from to show or to perform? Like, I'm not gonna die if I don't do anything. If anything,
right.
I get to take time to really know myself and get inspired to be able to create something. And honestly, I haven't felt creative in a very long time.
Mm,
Now I am, but for a while, a couple years, no, I haven't. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to. I not necessarily about the not wanting to do things. It was more so, what did I want to explore within myself? What did I want to
right.
grow in? What did I want to just fuck around and do? Like I want to garden. I want to learn how to cook crazy things. I want to travel. I want to fall in love. I want to heal. I want to go to therapy. I want to, you know, I want to do things that aren't necessarily pressures to create and show to the world.
Yeah. And you're intentional about doing that, just as intentional as you are about making sure that you find places to recharge or to find inspiration, whether it's out in nature or, going to a museum or whatever. What have been some of your favorite places to like retreat away and reset your intention?
Um, Places to retreat. I used to go to the beach a lot. Honestly, I really enjoy bike riding at the beach with Austin.
Shout
That's been
out.
one of my favorite things. Yeah. Um, I don't know. Ojai is good. I like Ojai.
Mm.
Or just getting my hands dirty and being outside in the garden.
Yeah,
Get
you
them
just
down.
built a whole personal. What'd you say? You built it out of a dresser?
Yeah, somebody dumped a dresser out on their front yard and it didn't have any drawers. And so I just flipped it on its side and filled it with soil. And now I'm growing vegetables out of it. I even made an irrigation system and everything.
in the dresser.
Yes.
Never cease to amaze. And that's the thing, is like being able to observe how you'll take little bits of something from one place and turn it into something else. I've seen you do this. I've seen you do it with design and taking what you learned at Tamar Mellon and using it for, creating images or like just communicating how you feel. I've watched you create a color, right? Like that whole course you did about creating color. Watching you do that DJing, taking, one record and mixing with another, watching you do it with food and like mixing things together and taking little flavors together, mixing people together. Like you've been this kind of alchemist of like, this isn't what it started as, but it's going to end up being this over here. And a lot of that has to do with looking at what are like the standards or the rules where it's like, you're not supposed to do that or whatever. What are some of those things that you've come across in your life? I say probably maybe the top 2 or 3 things that has been like, oh, you're supposed to do this way, that you ended up being like, nah, I can go around it.
Mm. Honestly, I'm going a little deep right now, but I honestly feel like it's being a black woman. I think that there's so many different types of expectations and boxes that were put in, and to feel liberated and move in a way that is unexpected is very empowering for me.
Mm.
Uh, oh, we don't have to go dive into that. That's just a little like surface thing that came to mind.
But I do like how you subvert expectations that people seem to have of you. And it's weird, like when people are overly surprised, it's like, what did you think she was gonna do? Like when you say, oh, I want to do this event, and then you do the thing, they're like, oh, this is way bigger than I thought. It's like, what were you thinking was gonna happen? And that's always
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and also like I look a certain way, so I fit in this box of people's mindsets of like how I should move, how I should be, who I should be with, and what I should be doing and shit. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to be with this person. I don't want to do this thing. I don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with this. I don't fuck with you. I don't want to. I'm not subjecting to people's expectations of me. And I know people have certain ideas and perspectives based on what people look like and what they do and shit, but like I feel like my form of rebellion has been just this ideal of what a black creative woman should do. Yeah. And
You've done
even who
that
they
very well.
be, yeah, who they should be around or the places they should be the places they should be seen at, or like I don't want to do a lot of shit that I used to do. I'm not there no more.
Yeah, yeah.
I've
And that's
I've
big.
evolved. I'm not on a lot of shit anymore. If anything, I don't really care to talk about where I'm heading just yet, but I know I'm not in that box of what a lot of people know me as.
100%. 100%. And it's a wonderful thing to, because sometimes you go through it and you don't realize you're going through it, or you're so busy going through it, you don't have the awareness of where you are in it. But to have the peace of being of saying, oh no, here's where I am, here's what I fuck with, here's what I don't, but still being open enough to be like, but there's something more coming. That's a magical place to be in. And for better or worse, it normally comes from going through a lot of adverse situations and figuring it out, right? Like figuring out how to maneuver through things, figuring out how to let people fall off, figuring out how to let family members fall to the wayside, figuring out how to overcome grief and how to come to terms with you not being the person that you once were. There's a lot to that. Like so many people knew you just as Myra with the hair and the smile, and you talk on Instagram one time and people lose their brains. Like, yes, there's a whole brain here underneath this. Like, and it's interesting to hear you talk about like people getting so excited about the idea of you as opposed to accepting the reality of you and how many multitudes that
Yeah,
holds.
yeah, for fucking sure.
Yeah, it's a real, real, real big thing.
Yeah.
Um, as we're kind of going towards the end of this, there was a question I had that I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to people that inspire you, right? I talk a lot about context and cultural context and just like who you'd like to be mentioned alongside of, or just people that you pull different elements from, whether they're people that you know, whether they are people in the, creative sphere or ancestors, writers, or whatever. But who are two or three people that have really inspired you that you've found yourself learning from who they are or how they've lived?
I've really been inspired by my city and the people here, um, and just the creatives here in the city. And I really want to work with natives more, creative natives. Like, honestly, like so inspired by AJ Gerard right now and what he's doing.
Shout out AJ.
Shout out to AJ. Justin Leroy, Dime Jones, shit, PG Lang, Dave and Kendrick,
Man,
Alani,
real.
like all of them. Like I'm really inspired by how they move and what they're doing. I see a lot of people doing great things, but I don't know. What really draws me to people is not what you do, it's how you do it. How do you treat people in the process? Do you have integrity? Are you a man or woman of your word, or are you just talking out your ass and spitting out all these ideas? Are you going to actually execute? Like, I really fuck with people who are moving with their word, and because honestly that's how I like to move.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've been inspired by those groups of people, and I want to keep that type of energy around me personally and professionally.
I love to hear that. And it's also nice to hear someone from Los Angeles talk about how important it is to advocate and celebrate the people that are native here, because sometimes that gets lost in the signal of the people that have moved here. I'm a transplant myself. I've been here for 10 years, but there's still certain memories and certain reference points I don't have. And being able to be around people like yourself and others that grew up here and hearing those contexts, it's incredibly important to help anybody get an understanding of a sense of place or how to properly respect and honor things, right? It's like talking to, walking into somebody's family's house. It's like, hey, just so you know, here's how things go in here. Like, you take your shoes off at the door, or you take your hat off in the house, or whatever the case may be. It's knowing those codes of how to respect place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like LA is such a dope city. Like being here, being from here, being raised here, and being a woman from LA, South Central. Like I feel like women creatives from LA, being known for their creativity is really rare.
Mm.
And I am very inspired by that. And if anything, I want to just keep moving forward as a woman from LA to create and do impactful things. And I'm not saying I'm trying to fucking change the world or anything, but I'm just saying I want to interpret the world through my eyes and see what happens.
I mean, I think that's a legacy in and of itself, because you're doing the thing that you said that you'd appreciate seeing, right? You're leading with your actions. You're making sure that your community's involved. There's a lot that people could take away from your integrity and how you move, your excitement about your creativity, your passion for the things that you do. Like, that's an inspiration in and of itself. And I thank you for being who you are. And I thank you for saying yes to having this conversation, because I know that talking about yourself or talking in public, that's not like a thing that you'd rather be doing. You much rather be out hands on doing the stuff. And I appreciate you saying yes to this, because especially, just in light of people that have passed, whether it's Virgil or Chadwick or anyone else, it's like one of my talents is talking to people and collecting stories and archiving them. And if I'm not doing that for my friends, who else is going to do it? And so I thank you for I thank you for joining me in my archive practice, which is just celebrating the people that are around me that are dope. And you're someone that I've learned a lot from. And I've been inspired by your strength and just how much love you have. Like, it's wild. I don't think people understand the almost inexhaustible pit of love you have for anyone you decided to love on. Like, it's wild. I also don't think people understand how cold it gets when that shit gets turned off. So there's that.
I mean, I love like my mama, man. Like,
Mm,
ain't no half-ass shit. Either you
yeah,
get it or you don't.
real, very real,
Yeah,
very
what's the point? I'm not a deluded individual, and I'm not gonna dilute my love.
No, you are not. No, you are not. Well, anything that you can talk about or anything that you want to talk about that you're excited about this coming up, or is it more of a, hey, just stay tuned and see what happens?
um, yeah, I would say stay tuned and see what happens.
Word.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like that. Um, any last shout outs or anybody you want to say what's up to or thank yous to as we're closing out?
Yes. Shout out to you, Jason, for having me here. I really appreciate you. You are such an amazing friend and supporter in my life. I'm really appreciative to have you in my life, and I'm glad that you're here and having me here and pushing me to speak and use my voice and talk about myself, although I don't like to.
You gonna get that throat chakra action.
I know, dude. I know.
But I appreciate you. I really do.
Yeah. But also, I want to give a special shout out to a special man in my life named Austin.
We
This
love
is, yeah, this is hands down the healthiest relationship I've ever had in my life. And he's really showing me how I can show up for myself and heal and be open. And, you know, you know how I talk about playing? Like,
him.
he's like the gas. He pours the gasoline on the flame for me when it comes to play. He's my
Like, turn
gasoline.
up. Yeah. I love it here. I
Yeah,
love
yeah, and I just appreciate being able to have a safe space to be and to grow and to heal and to love and to figure out myself and my life and everything around me. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like this is the first time in my life where I feel like I have a safe space personally and professionally. Um, I mean, I know we didn't really talk too much about what I'm doing work wise, but I just want to say shout out to Monica Glass. She is a goat in my eyes.
Mm.
And I'm just grateful to just be around incredible women and men personally and professionally. So, yeah.
You make us all better. We appreciate you.
Oh, thanks, man.
All right, I'm gonna stop before I try and make her cry again. Thank you all for tuning in. Myra, thank you for being here. Just gonna do a quick little housekeeping stuff. We got our last show and tell of the year next week, live from Arcana. So that's gonna be fun. Some kind of gift buying guide situation. So stay tuned to that. And later this afternoon, actually, as soon as I get off of here, we're going to announce the opening of applications for the 2022 Burnt Sienna Research Fellowship. So if you're curious about that, that'll be in the link in the bio. But other than that, if you're not already following Myra, fix your life. If she doesn't approve you, it's your fault. And make sure that you're just remembering to support the people that are in your space, because whatever you're working on and saying, oh, I'm going to do this thing so I can show people, whoever you're doing it for may not be around by the time you get done. Make sure you check in on your people. Make sure you check in on your own health. And whatever idea you have, do it. Empty yourself. Don't die with ideas still in you. And if you need help, ask for the help.
I
Just
want to say one more shout out to my
go
dad,
for it.
my pops.
Shout out to your pops, for real.
Yeah, my pops. He's my homie, my big giant
The big
marshmallow.
homie. The big
Yeah.
homie.
If anybody really knows me, you know my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how he is. He's just a ball of love like me. But
Yeah,
I really appreciate him and his support. And like he gave, he brought me into this world. So I got to shout him out too. I love
absolutely.
him.
Absolutely.
My big homie.
Oh,
Yeah.
well. That I mean, the thing is, I told you it was going to be us talking, and I'm glad that we got to talk about it. I tried to stay away from talking about the current stuff because I know you're kind of like not really wanting to share all the stuff, but I'm glad that people are going to be able to see more stuff from you. I'm really, really happy about that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone that tuned in. I know the timing is different, and so the recast will be up as soon as we close this out. And yeah, like it, share it, watch it, but support Myra. Cash app her money for food just because. Buy her coffee. Invest in what she's doing. And
Wait, I feel like I want to ask. I feel like I want to ask this just because this is so time sensitive.
oh, go for it.
I really, I'm not sure where this is going to go, but this feels very time sensitive for me. I know I haven't really been creative or thrown anything lately, but this feels like a time crunch for me because I went to San Diego uh, last year or so, and I met this really old man named Chuck Ambers. And I was in Old Town San Diego. I was walking, and he was standing on the corner, and he turned around and he's like, "Hey, I like your hair." Everybody fucking compliments me on my hair. I was like, "Oh, thanks." And he started asking me like, "Oh, where are you from? Do you know how San Diego was founded? Do you know the history of any of this?" And I was like, "No, not really." And he's like, "Oh, like he puts his thumb behind his shoulder, and he's like, "You see this building behind me?" He's like, "This is my museum." And he said, "This is my African diaspora museum." And he's
Mm,
like, "This is pretty much what I've been collecting over the years as I'm like going through my journey of understanding African American culture and history." And so I think he's in either his 70s or his 80s, but this old man really inspired me because he has so many different types of historical artifacts, books, like cultural shit. Like he has Tiger Woods Wheatie boxes and shit. I don't know. It's like he's been collecting African American culture and history for like at least 40 years.
mm,
And in this really rundown building, and he said he needs help uh, getting this out into the world. And I call him sometimes to check on him, and he talks a lot about how he's going to pass away soon because he's really old.
mm,
And me and culture and play, like I really want to help this man. He feels like he's going to die, and all the things that he's been collecting is going to die along with him.
mm.
And so he wants to pass on his knowledge and share all these things that he's been collecting for so long. And I can't help but think about him all the time because, you know, yeah, we're young and we still have a lot of time, but our elders are still so much important because they have so much knowledge and history. And
Absolutely.
this man has so much knowledge in history, and I need help supporting him. I don't know if it's like, if anybody that knows someone that has connections to funding or spaces for him, but I really want to help Chuck.
Yeah.
This is a project that I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I want to tackle it as soon as possible because time is in importance right now because of, his age, and I know he talks a lot how he's going to be passing soon. So I don't know if anybody wants to start a conversation with me or contact me on how they can help. I would deeply appreciate it because this is you and I's history. It's a lot of our history that
Yeah.
he has access to. He's put me on to things about our ancestors that I had no idea about. Like,
Mm,
and I don't want it to just fall away and, turn into dust. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, I would say my ask is for anyone to start a conversation with me about that and support or connect me with someone who can, because I think that would help a lot.
I agree. I'll have you text me his information. I'm gonna put that in the comment section underneath the talk. So that way, if anybody's interested, like if there's an email or a DM or whatever that you prefer, but just sharing his name and what he's working on. You know, immediately I think about CAM, but I also think about other organizations. So yeah, let's see what we can pull together as a community and help save that, because that's a wonderful, wonderful collection of things that should not just go to the wayside.
Yeah, I don't want to let it go. It's
Yeah,
important.
no, that's good. I'm glad you remember that too, because that was something we talked about that is really important to bring up. Yeah, yeah. Text me information. I'm gonna make sure that I put that in there. Um, shit. Anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm happy to see everybody fucking showing up on the
I
feed.
know it turned
Big,
up in the
Alicia,
comments.
Adam, Austin, Emilian. Who else popped up? Jeffrey, Stacia.
Mm-hmm.
I got some like homies from high school, Crystal, Richard that popped up.
Yeah, you got a
My
lot of love
cousin,
today.
Candace. Huh?
You got a lot of love today.
I feel it. I feel it. I
Yeah.
appreciate y'all.
Well, that's going to do it for us, y'all. We'll have details in the comment section of the recap. So if there's anything that you can think of or have ways to support with what Myra was just talking about, or just in general, make sure you reach out. But that is going to end our broadcast for today. Thank you so much, Myra. I love you dearly. Thank you for coming. And happy holidays, y'all. Whatever you do, be safe. Love on your folk. You can have arguments, but they still your folk, so it's fine. Y'all be all right. And
Thank
we'll see you
you,
next week.
Jason. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye, y'all.